Yes, Mr. Roddy. In between videos here, he could probably do stand-up at the Catskills, folks. One of the funniest men I know. Now look, let's transition into some national stuff. People like Jim Meredith, very smart man. Heffron Tillotson, Your Money and You. Ted Arnaud, our good friend, very smart man. I'm all for this 25% tariff that the president is putting on steel coming into this country and aluminum. I mean, let's face it.
10% on aluminum.
Yeah, 10%. Alcoa, you know, looking at it last night across the Allegheny, that beautiful marquee, while sitting in there at the Duquesne Light Pittsburgh Home and Garden Show. So once again, just like the other two men that I mentioned, you're going to explain to me why the big picture, that's not really good business.
Well, it's probably not good business. It's good for the steel industry. But the steel industry in the United States today is just a very small piece of what it used to be. And we've got a lot of other businesses that depend on importing goods. And the tariffs is going to run the prices up. It's not good for business generally. Good for steel, good for aluminum. Aluminum probably needed it less than the steel industry. The steel industry has really been struggling. But we've got to find other ways to make that whole, and not a 25% tariff.
Where does our manufacturing future lie? Because if it's not steel and it's not aluminum, I mean, natural gas right over the hill at that Shell petrochemical plant, is that the future?
Of course, and it's something called advanced manufacturing. Computers. You go to a steel plant today, and they're not, the big tubs aren't turning, and there's a guy sitting in a booth running a computer. That's manufacturing today. It's about technology. It's about robotics. We're going to manufacture plants right now. The Shell cracker plant.
Okay. 20
years ago, that would have employed 1,500 people. Because of technology, it's now going to employ 500 people.
Now, but let's explain something that I've talked to our mutual friend, Mr. Betters, about, and people that are a lot smarter than me about the future. And there will be people who come up to me, because my father, grandfather, uncles, relations worked at the former St. Joe Lead Company that was there from the late 20s up until the time that they closed. And I mean, they employed about 600 people at the time. Now we're looking at about 500 when it's all said and done with Shell. But when my friends in businesses said why this is good for the job shelf, you'll have feeder stock. A lot of plants will come up around it, but you're also going to have 6,000 as of right now. And I see the chartered buses taking them back and forth during shift change to their cars that are parked in the Beaver Valley Mall parking lot that they're renting space from. Those workers will be here for the next 4 years. But in the end, by the time they get it built, they get it staffed, there'll probably be other plants, plastic, whatever, perfume companies popping up around there to be able to use this natural gas to create their manufacturing base. So for the next 25 years, it'll just be one leapfrog after another to where thousands of jobs will be created because of this.
Well, you have to get right back to what is a cracker plant. When they first told me we were going to get a cracker plant, I said we had one. It went broke. That was in Nabisco.
Right.
But a cracker plant is a process. There's something called wet gas, and that's a part of the Marcellus shale. There's the Marcellus, the Utica, but in a portion of the Marcellus shale, there is something called wet gas. It occurs not everywhere. West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and we happen to have a very large concentration of wet gas right where they're drilling. And the wet gas contains chemicals. Those chemicals are used to make plastics. And what a cracker plant means is they crack the gas and extract those chemicals.
For other manufacturing,
for others. So you're going to see chemical companies locate close to the source because they don't want the transportation costs. They want to be there, get it, manufacturing their goods right there. And so that will attract. 500 people at the cracker plant, probably 20,000 eventually from the chemical companies and the spin-off that those jobs will create.
Well, we have got a state senator, Elder Vogel, in these parts that is doing an incredible job to help that cause. I have seen so much advancement to where you've seen a lot of infrastructure, thanks to when Tom Corbett was governor, the transportation bill, a lot of that stuff's happening. The beautiful Pittsburgh International Airport, probably one of the best in the country. And we have great trucking companies, we have rivers, we have rail. I mean, this is, I think, I think, the sweet spot for this industry.
It is. And let me go back. You just mentioned Tom Corbett. If it hadn't been for Tom Corbett, we would not have that cracker plant. He was the champion. He was the one that really held it all together. And in the long run, it was his efforts that caused him to come here.
So in closing, next 25 years, you'll probably still be here. My question is, do you agree with many that this could create hundreds of thousands of jobs over the next 25 years?
I don't know how many it will create. Certainly in the thousands, maybe 25 to 50, 75,000. I don't know how big it will be because we're going to have more cracker plants. West Virginia is working on one right now. Ohio is probably going to have one. We could have as many as 3 more cracker plants. And then you're really talking about a huge expansion. This could be the real center of manufacturing for the industry, for the energy industry and the chemical industry in the country.
My love affair with the steel industry, and I got to mention this, the coal industry as well, especially what they do for other companies like the railroad companies that are here, Norfolk Southern, CSX. If this happens, there will be a place for them with steel piping and to make the steel piping for coal, meaning burning coal, clean burning coal, I might add. So they're going to be in the mix too. Maybe not as important, but it's going to help their business as well. Wouldn't you agree?
I would to some degree, but remember, besides the wet gas for the cracker plant, we have natural gas now, and that may be the fuel that really is used more so than coal.
You see a thing though for nuclear energy and people like First Energy and Nova Chemicals. Do you look long term for them in Beaver County?
I don't know. Nuclear industry is really in the U.S. is not doing very well. In France and Germany, they're cutting back on their nuclear power. The problem of the storage of the spent rods has really become a problem. And with natural gas, the Marcellus Shale and other natural gas fields, that may be the real future of energy.
Listen, just to give you an idea, we're going to talk more about all of this stuff, as I always like to do. I'm going to be in for Mike Pintek on Friday of this week, and then next week on Monday, Tuesday, and then Friday. We're going to actually end up Friday on the 16th at Coons Market on McKnight Road, noon to 3. So I hope you'll tune in, and I hope you'll phone in with all of your questions. And as always, it is a true joy to be with a real champion of the people, my friend Mr. Jim Roddy, here at St. Barnabas, Beaver Meadows. Until we meet you again, good night, everybody. I got to tell you.